This is a podcast about one woman's mission to help entrepreneurs and business owners write better business books. Each week, we tackle your writing excuses, because there are excuses too, and help you beat the blank page of doom so that you can write the book that'll grow your life and your business. Now here's your host, Vicky Fraser.
Hello and welcome to the 1000 Authors Show. I'm Vicky Quinn Fraser, and this is my husband Joe.
Hello.
What have I done now?
I just enjoy the way you start the podcast.
Why?
Well, we get used to like the certain cadence and nuance, and then you go changing it up subtly.
Did I?
Yeah.
I just flapped my mouth and words came out. Wow. Cool. It's Sunday afternoon at Casa Quinn Fraser, dingle. And we're currently frozen to the spot in my office because it's April and it was snowing yesterday. And this is bullshit.
This office is cold.
This office is cold.
So we're going to be quick.
Yeah, we're going to do this super fast. Joe, what are you reading?
I'm still reading Tolstoy, Childhood, Boyhood, Youth.
Are you enjoying
it? Leo Tolstoy. Yeah, I am. It took a little bit to get going, but I'm kind of getting into it.
Cool.
He's a pretty good writer.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. I have never read any Tolstoy. No. Have you? Apart from this one.
I mean, I read War and Peace once when I was like, one of those precocious twatty teenagers.
Wow.
I don't really remember much about it, and I didn't. It was kind of just so that I could say I'd read it. I don't really remember much. I was
I'm not sure that counts though.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
What are you reading?
I am reading The Wheel of Time Book 2 by Robert Jordan.
You're going to need to speed up.
So, it's the thing that I read when I'm super tired and I get into bed, and then I read like 7 words repeatedly and then I put it down again. So it's taken a while. But what I'm also reading and absolutely loving is, did we talk about Georgia Pritchett's My Mess is a Bit of a Life? I think we did, didn't we?
Yes, we have done.
Yeah, I just really love it. Anyway, but I'm now reading How to Live, A Life of Montaigne in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer by Sarah Bakewell.
That is How to Live, A Life of Montaigne in 1 question and 20 attempts at an answer by Sarah Bakewell.
You sound like an actual radio presenter.
I know, right?
I know. You should do these podcasts on your own and I should just
Instead of you just going, Bakewell, Bakewell, Bakewell.
Thanks. But it's really good. So it's a not an autobiography because he didn't write it. It's a biography by Sarah Bakewell about Michel de Montaigne, who was the world's first personal essayist, basically.
Okay.
And I'm going to talk about him a little bit because it's actually relevant to this week's episode.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's all about. People wrote. Okay, so essays comes from the French essayer, which means to try, right? That's where the word essay comes from. But most people think of essays as being dry, boring academic bullshit that we were forced to do at school with an introduction, whatever, and a conclusion. And it's like, write something really dry about this really boring subject. And kind of made people hate essays. But since I have become a writer...
A writer, don't you know?
A writer. And a writing coach, I have come to realise that essays, that's not really what an essay is, or it's not what it was. I don't know, maybe it got changed. But anyway, personal essays are great because it's like, the difference is that you're kind of writing about a subject, but it's your take on a subject, and it doesn't have to go anywhere, and it doesn't have to teach you anything, and it doesn't have to lead you anywhere. It can just be a little snapshot of,
here's what I think about this.
Yeah.
Here are some thoughts.
Yeah. And, sometimes not even here are some thoughts, just sometimes here are my experiences of this thing. Do with it what you will. And I love that. And I'm making so many notes in the margin of this book. And I'm also trying to find a kind of practical edition of Montaigne's essays because it's massive. It's massive. He wrote
everything, didn't he?
He wrote hundreds, thousands of them. And so you can get his complete essays, but it's just not a practical book to sit and read. You need a lectern for it. So maybe I should just Kindleize it. But then I like a book. I want to make notes in the margin. Anyway, so I am reading that, and Sarah Bakewell's approach to it has been to like take his, because really all of his essays are him figuring out how to live a good life. And he was around in the 1540s. So 450 years ago now. 500 years ago, 400, many years ago.
Some time ago.
And so, like, a lot of the cultural context is lost, especially because he was a French nobleman and all the rest of it. So there's a lot of differences, but there's so much that's just human experience, And his idea was that, well, I mean, he changed his mind all the time. He didn't care if he contradicted himself from one essay to the next, because it was, and that's what I really love about his writing. And I think that's what a lot of writers are missing now. It's like, oh, I have to be right, whatever that means. And I have to be consistent. And it's like, well, actually, no, my opinion on all sorts of shit changes, not just from day to day, but from like minute to minute sometimes, because I'm always thinking about stuff. Does that make sense? And so, you'll hopefully realise why this is all relevant in a few minutes when we actually get into the episode. So, But what we've been doing this week at Casa Dingle has been building stud walls in the bathroom.
Building stud walls in the bathroom, which sounds like a simple thing. You get some timber and you screw it to a wall and a floor and you start building up and you just nail stuff together and screw things together and it all goes where you want it.
Maybe that would be the case in a square house with square things.
In a square house with square walls, but in a house where the walls are made out of either like ridiculously hard stone or ridiculously soft stone held together with like mud, and the walls aren't straight, nothing's vertical, no angles are 90 degrees, everything's wonky. It's not so easy.
No,
it's not so easy.
And it started off really irritatingly yesterday because we came in and we were like, we have already made one wall on the side, which is going to be our part of our shower cubicle. And we were like, we have done the marine ply and it's all up there. And then I put a spirit level up against it. And I was like, this wall is leaning quite a long way inwards and it's going to look shit when we tile it because it's like nothing.
You can have like triangles of tiles at the corner.
Yeah, unless we use giant tiles, which we may decide to do. But like also I like smaller tiles, so I don't want to be restricted.
And walls should be more or less vertical.
More or less.
In some places.
And they were very not vertical. And I was like, how did this happen?
Because how did we get this far?
Yeah, so we took that whole wall down again and then rebuilt it. And it just felt like, ugh.
Spent like several hours achieving not very much.
And then we realised that we would have to move the whole shower sideways a little way because otherwise it would encroach on the loft hatch, as in we wouldn't be able to ever get into the loft hatch because it would just not open because there would be a wall over the top of it. So we're like, right, okay, so we'll have to push the shower that way. That's fine, we can do that. And we did that, and then we put the shower tray down and we drew a hole around where the shower tray waste pipe is going to go. And then we were like, well, fuck, because there's
exactly where a joist is.
A floor joist underneath it. So I don't know, maybe a normal person would like do some recalculations and stuff, but we were like, nope, fuck it, it's staying there. We're going to cut a notch out the floor joist. So that is.
It's not going to be a big notch out of the floor joist.
No, it's going to be fine.
It's just a pain. We're hoping to avoid it, but hey, we need to be able to get in the attic.
We do, because otherwise we've just got a loft hatch that doesn't work and Christmas decorations and shoes up there.
Things that we will never see again.
So that's what we've been up to.
Yeah, it's been great fun. Great fun.
Yeah. Right. So this week, I think the title of the episode, because I change it, is Hot Takes Are Bullshit. Or I might have to change the title of the episode so that it doesn't have a swear in the title.
Okay.
Yeah. So yes, knee-jerk reactions, hot takes, and just the general lack of nuance in the whole world.
I've got a real problem with hot takes because I don't really understand what they are.
Oh, okay.
What's a hot take?
Oh, well, that is a good question, Joe. So a hot take is where something happens in the world, and let's use the example of Will Smith slapping Chris Rock, because that's what the entire bloody world is talking about at the moment.
Do we have to?
Yes, we do, because it's a good example.
Okay.
And so a hot take would be where insert your favourite online influencer, celebrity, unqualified person here just goes, rare, I need to comment on this thing because it's a cultural phenomenon and it's immediate and I need to comment on it immediately, and here is my hot take on it. Here is my take on it.
I need to be part of this zeitgeist, so here we are.
Yes. And what happens is that you get like 50 bazillion uninformed bullshit opinions about something that people know nothing about. And the internet fills up with that and nobody actually gives it any thought. And most people don't, they just don't understand the nuance behind it, which is why I don't have an opinion about the Will Smith Chris Rock thing because I'm not qualified to have a fucking opinion, because there are many, many layers to it, and I can kind of sit there and look at it and go, he should not have slapped him, and blah, and Rock should not have made a crass joke, and blah, blah, blah. And it's like, probably all of those things are true, but also I am not going to sit here and pass judgment on something that has a lot of nuanced layers to it, because there's a lot more to it than just two dudes, you know,
one person good, one person bad.
Yeah, and you know, there's whole layers of Black American history there as well that I am absolutely not going to stick my foot into, because I don't understand it, and you know, certainly not enough to have an opinion on it. And just why do I need to have an opinion on it? It's a thing that happened. And then the other thing that hot takes do is they take away from what should have been a really amazing moment and you know, the Oscars are all bullshit anyway, but what should have been a really amazing moment. Like, Will Smith gets an Oscar, which is awesome. I think it's his first Oscar. And then a whole load of amazing Black women also got Oscars that night, including a queer Black woman. And it's just like, all of that has now been overshadowed by this one thing that, you know... And then you've got the layers of should the Oscars have even televised that part anyway, because we know why they did it, because look at how much publicity it's getting. And so, yeah, there's just a lot going on, and... The hot take is your immediate knee-jerk surface reaction to something that you really don't understand. And so that is what I wanted to talk about a little bit today.
Hot takes are bullshit.
Hot takes are bullshit, yeah. Because I don't have a hot take on Will Smith and Chris Rock, but I do have a hot take on hot takes. But it's not a hot take. It's a considered and... well, a bit more considered and thoughtful opinion. Because it's and the other thing about hot takes is they happen on social media. So like on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook, and there's just no room.
I mean, like about 110% of things that's on social media is bullshit.
Yeah. But I mean, what really frustrates me with this kind of thing is there's no room for nuance. There's none. You can't put nuance into, you know, a 256 character tweet. Mm-hmm. It's really difficult to put nuance into a 2,000 character Instagram post. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, you know, and people are writing good articles and stuff and doing good stuff out there. But what fits into the social media post is the headline, which is the only thing people read.
And it's not like people are putting out their opinion because it's valuable and interesting. People are putting their opinion out because they want to be part of this snowball of things happening. There's like, oh, something's happened, so I need to jump aboard.
Yeah, and there's a lot of, and you know, I can have a certain amount of pressure for that, because there is a lot of pressure to have an opinion on something. And one of the places that shows up a lot is somebody that I love following on Instagram is Jameela Jamil. She played I cannot remember the name of the character in The Good Place. Mm-hmm. And she's awesome. And she posted a really good post when I can't even remember what happened. Something had happened.
Some internet thing had happened.
Some internet thing. Well, no, it was a real world thing, but you know, something had happened. And she got a bunch of people coming in like, why are you not commenting on this? Why are you not talking about this? And so and she's like, because I don't know that much about it. And, you know,
it's got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. And, you know, maybe this is something that I don't know enough about to have an opinion on. And so I get it. Like, there is a lot of pressure for people to have an opinion on stuff and to talk about stuff. And, you know, oh, you were talking about this, you know, this issue over here. What about this issue over here? There's a lot of whataboutism going on. And it's like, and then the assumption that if you don't comment on the thing that's currently that's currently not popular, but it's currently a big thing. Yeah, that you don't care. And it's like, that's not true. I mean, it might be true, but it's you know. And, you know, if it is true, who are we to say whether that's, you know, whether that makes you a bad person or not? And that's another layer of this whole thing, is like, you are not a bad person because of one aspect. Do you know what I mean? There's no nuance to anything anymore, and especially on social media. And that's partly why I love books so much, because books give you space to actually think about things and actually put forward a considered opinion, and actually give you space to maybe change your mind throughout the course of the book. You could talk about both sides of the thing, and you can talk around it, and maybe change your mind from the beginning of the book to the end of the book, which would be so God. I would love to read a book in which somebody started off with one opinion and then changed their mind by the end of it, because do you know what I mean? How interesting would that be? because that would be a bit more of a reflection of real life. So yeah, I've got a couple of places to point people as well as reading Montaigne's essays, and if you want a kind of, I don't want to say light version, but like the I don't know, the Cliff Notes almost. The biography is How to Live, this Sarah Bakewell's book, How to Live. Definitely go read that, because she talks a lot about how Montaigne talked about, his thing was, I'm actually not very bright. I forget things a lot. And actually, reading some of his essays and who he is, I'm like, man, I reckon he had ADHD. But anyway, but he was just like, I forget everything. I forget half of what I read. And I'm really slow-witted. And that was what he said. It's like, I don't think that fast. And that was a virtue for him, because it was just like, and I don't think it was that he didn't think fast, because I get the impression that he was a man who thought very, very, very fast. But he took his time over kind of forming opinions, and he would change
reaching conclusions.
Yeah. And part of the reason that he wrote all of these essays was because he just wanted to capture the experience. It wasn't like he wasn't writing it to change anybody's mind or to teach anybody anything. He was just like, these are my feelings in this moment right now. Oh, and these are my feelings about maybe the same thing, like a couple of days later, and it's totally different. Mm-hmm. And it's just really, really interesting. So I like that idea of, yes, okay, you might think super quickly and you might have 1,000 thoughts in your head at once. Hello. But you don't have to form an opinion immediately. And you definitely don't have to put it out there in the world publicly.
Yeah, like
immediately.
It's a fact.
Like it's a fact, yeah. The other thing that I wanted to point people towards is an email from Mark Manson, who sends out a monthly, I think it is now, or a weekly or something. It used to be Mindfuck Monday. Now it's Mindfuck Monthly. I'm confused. Anyway, so he sends out an email. He also wrote The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck. I really like him. He's somebody who thinks about things before he gives his hot take. And he wrote an email on the 7th of March, and I'm pretty sure it's on his website as a blog, called The Life Cycle of Outrage. And it's just really good. And I'm just going to summarize it here, because I think it just gives an idea of why I find the hot take culture so frustrating. So it's like, you've got moment zero, a significant event occurs, eyewitnesses, primary sources break the news, statements made, videos posted, tweets tweeted. First hour, journalists scramble to disseminate news of significant event far and wide, mostly on Twitter, placeholder web pages, cable news channels to give you breaking news about it, blah, blah, blah. This is, he calls it the primary viral wave. First 24 hours, a gold rush to cash in on the primary viral wave. Thousands of bloggers, journalists, influencers, celebrities, and politicians put out their take on the significant event. These early stages takes range from quality education to scummy attention whoring. Pretty much anyone who says anything about it immediately goes viral, sees follower account explode, blah, blah, blah. 24 to 48 hours. Of the tens of thousands of takes posted, a couple of dozen come out as clear victors to win the attention competition, and they get repeated and reshared and become conventional wisdom and basic facts, even if they're bullshit. And that's the important thing. These are the ones that are taken as winners become the fucking truth. 48 to 72 hours, the primary viral wave has reached its saturation point. There's nothing new to say about it which hasn't already been said. So everybody starts to look a little bit closer at the actual data and information. And sure enough, wouldn't you know it, I'm quoting Mark now, this video is fake and that photo has been photoshopped and that data analysis was done incorrectly. Everything that you know about it is wrong. And so then he talks about all of that. And then, a couple of weeks later, there's reactionary viral waves, as he calls it. So then, the secondary wave of outrage about how the first wave of outrage was all incorrect. And it's a very, very good breakdown of how it works on the internet. And it's very accurate. And it's just exhausting and depressing. And there's a lot of good stuff you can say about instant news and social media and all the rest of it. This is not one of them. It's not, because there's no room for investigative journalism anymore. Because it's like, who wants to read about stuff that happened months ago? Very frustrating. So yeah, go read that, because he really sums up the whole, the life cycle of outrage, which is really what we're talking about when we talk about hot takes. It's like, what can I be outraged about today?
And what's the motivation of the person who's putting this stuff out? Are they just trying to win a few followers? Are they actually trying to help people understand anything? Are they just attention grabbing?
I think, different people doing all of the
stuff.
above. But it's like finding the people who actually want to help you get information is really difficult among all the noise. It really is.
And it's probably not an influencer. You'd probably want a...
It's not going to be your local celebrity influencer because they don't know.
You're going to need a journalist, really.
And a good, a trustworthy, good journalist, because not all journalists are trustworthy and good either. So yeah, and if you do want a take on Will Smith and Chris Rock, then read Mark Manson's article on it, because he helped Will Smith write his autobiography, so he knows the man really, really well. And he's felt quite a lot of pressure to, because he says in his email, since the moment of the slap, he's been inundated nonstop with people, friends, family, readers, journalists, wanting his take on the situation. After all, he just spent 3 years co-writing a book, and he's had all sorts of shit from people like, I've lost respect from you working with a man like Will Smith, who I've also lost respect for because of this one microscopic moment in his life. Do you know what I mean? And so I can't even imagine how eye-rolly and exhausted he must feel with all of this bullshit. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah. But how do you lose respect for somebody who worked with somebody who later turned out to make a mistake?
Right. Because it's the cycle of outrage. It's like, I need to be outraged about something, and I'm going to be outraged about this thing, and then escalate it to that thing.
Tell you what, pal, go fuck yourself.
Well, I mean, and I'm sure he has told a lot of people to go fuck themselves, because that's kind of his, MO. But just the whole thing is exhausting. It's like, I can't imagine living your life where you're like, I must comment on everything that's happening. No. You must not.
Pay attention to your life. Pay attention to the people dear and close to you. Pay attention to the things that matter to you. But Christ.
Don't make everything matter to you.
Don't make everything matter to you, because it really doesn't.
And, you can be interested. Like, I'm interested in... How could you not be interested in why Will Smith slapped Chris Rock? Of course I'm interested. I'm not going to put my ill-informed opinion out there on the internet for everyone to read. I don't feel any need to do that, and I don't understand why anyone else would want to either. So it's like, and I'm not also not knocking people for doing it. It's like, you do you, boo. I'm not judging, but the whole thing just perpetuates a cycle of nonsense. Because
all just calm down a minute.
Because opinions get taken as facts, and the two are not the same thing. So, yes. So really, this is why books are awesome.
They are slower. They are more considered.
They are.
They take longer.
Yeah.
They're not so reactionary.
Yeah, and that's not to say, by the way, that all books are awesome, because Piers Morgan has written a book.
It's probably not awesome.
Oh, it's just, I think it's something to do with like raging about woke people. So
Right.
So that tells you probably all you need to know about it. And the fact that Piers Morgan is an unmitigated shitweasel. So yeah, not just because something is I'm not like a book, therefore it's amazing. As just because something is a book, it can also be a bag of shit. Hitler wrote Mein Kampf. I'm not advocating for the fact that just because it's a book, it's, do you know what I mean? But it does give you the space and the time to find out, to find out what people think. And, I probably will read Piers Morgan's book at some point, because I want to know what his thought process is, or if he has one. I suspect I'm going to read that book and find he does not have a thought process, which will amuse...
3 pages in and throw it out the window,
It'll amuse me greatly. But yeah, it's like, read stuff. Don't just read stuff that you agree with. Read stuff that you disagree with as well, because it's a really useful thing to be able to entertain an idea without agreeing with it. And I think that's another thing that's missing with hot takes and a lack of nuance and, instant knee-jerk reactions, is we've got to be able to entertain an idea that we might profoundly disagree with. We've got to be able to hold two opposing thoughts in our heads without utterly rejecting the other one. It's like...
The world is not binary.
It's not. It really isn't.
It's very few things are either, A or B.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, the world is not all maths.
There's a lot of stuff in between.
Yeah, and I think that's where books come into it. It's like, and there's a lot of shit books out there, absolutely.
Well, I think we can agree that Piers Morgan's book is probably bullshit.
I'm going to say probably because I haven't read it and I can't say for 100% sure, but, I suspect it is, yes. But yeah, it's just this, and and this is also why I'm such a fierce advocate of writing a book as well, because it forces you to think about your opinions, and it forces you to think about the ideas that you hold dear and the values that you have. And, maybe you'll change your mind. I've changed my mind since writing about stuff. I change my mind all the damn time, because I just approach things from the assumption that I'm wrong and go from there. It's like, am I wrong about this? Could I be wrong?
People who don't change their mind are a bit dangerous, to be honest.
Yeah, they really are. So yes, this is why writing longer form books and articles is an awesome thing to do. It's why reading books and articles is an awesome thing to do. And if you're not, if you struggle to physically read a book, then audiobooks, podcasts, there's loads of longer form ways to consume news and media and current events than what you see as a headline on social media. It's like, if you see a headline on social media that interests you, sure, click on it, but go and find, if it matters to you, go find some more primary sources and kind of figure out what's what.
Cool.
And write a book. And if you would like to write a book, I am looking for 2 beautiful weirdos to come on my 6-month creative book coaching adventure with me, because I have 2 spots open for my 6-month private coaching program at the moment, which is awesome. That's not me saying that, it's other people saying that about it, but also it is. I really love doing it. It's one of my favorite things to do, because I get to work with people from like that idea all the way through to getting it published, and it's so exciting. It's just so wonderful watching people go from, I'm not sure I could do this, to I've done it. It's really cool. So yes, if you are thinking even vaguely that you would like to write a book and that you would like to not do it alone, then give me a shout. You can either email me, vicky@moxiebooks.co.uk, or you can go to moxiebooks.co.uk/creative-book-coaching, which is where you'll find all the details and a link to my application form. And if you have any questions, just give me a shout.
Cool.
I will happily hop on a call and you can answer. No, you can ask questions. You can answer all of your own questions. So yeah, anyway, hot takes are bullshit. Joe, what is the takeaway?
Think slower, go beyond the knee-jerk reactions, take your time, ponder it.
And go and read Montaigne's essays, read Sarah Bakewell's How to Live, and go and read Mark Manson's couple of most recent posts, The Cycle of Outrage and his one about the Oscars slap.
Nice.
Yeah. Coming up next week, we're going to be talking about another piece of bullshit, which is bestseller badges.
Bestseller badges.
Bestseller badges are also bullshit, and we'll be talking about that as well, because I have hot takes on that too. Actually, I have cool takes on that. Considered opinions.
Calm, considered
opinions, despite use of the word bullshit.
Okay.
So, yes, my 6-month book coaching is available. There is also a free writing prompt calendar available from moxiebooks.co.uk/calendar. And you can, if you're not ready for book coaching, but you do want a little bit of accountability to do some writing and build a writing habit, then you can join Team Moxie for just £1 for a week and try us out at moxiebooks.co.uk/power hour.
Nice.
We would love to have you.
If you've listened to every episode, email us with your postal address and we'll send you a special superfan gift.
Yes, it's very silly. Don't get your hopes up.
Yeah, it's nothing special, honest.
And if you like this podcast, go and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts from, please, because it helps us climb the rankings. And leave us a review.
5 stars.
5-star rating. If you don't like this podcast, other podcasts are available. But yeah, please leave us a review and a rating, or just share it. The best thing that you can do if you want to help us out is share this podcast with somebody else.
Tell a friend.
Send them a link. Thank you for listening. Thanks, Joe.
No worries.
Thanks, Harriet, for being awesome as usual. Thanks, Podfly. I've got the hiccups now. Thanks, Podfly, for also being awesome as usual. And thank you to you, dear listener, for being on the other end of this so that we're not screaming into the void.
Nice.
We'll be back next week.
Bye.
Stay weird.
Thanks for listening. You can find links and show notes on the website at moxiebooks.co.uk/podcast, where you can also sign up for the best daily emails in the multiverse and find loads of free resources to help you write your book. We'll be back the same time next week with more tales from the book writing trenches and the latest on what the tiny sheeps have been up to.